So what was considered foreclosure a year ago is very different in hot foreclosure markets now. Those price points are going up. The largest price gains, because we said there's 20 zip codes that are basically going up in value. San Francisco up 10.4%. But then you go look at San Francisco, and let's go look at it, because you can't just say, oh great, going to San Francisco, it's up 10.4%. No. South of Market is down 40%. You go into the high-end, Pacific Heights, down 9%. But go to the Sunset, go to Noe Valley, go to some of those areas. Those are the ones that have gone crazy. Those are the ones with multiple offers, all cash, and still going up. So you go into Berkeley, up a little bit. Sunnyvale, up a little bit. Go into Mountain View. Cupertino, which is hot right now. 40% almost all cash offers over the last month. So what you have is the most complex, confusing real estate market you've ever had. If you look at some of these, Los Gatos went down, Saratoga did better. Some of them were flat. So when we look at these markets and you start to say, how am I going to talk to a buyer and sell it? I think it requires a real education process, because you have to sit down with them and say, well, wait a minute. There is no one market. We've always known that. But even in Saratoga, Los Gatos, Cupertino, Mountain View, we have to now talk about the cities, but then we have to talk about the neighborhoods, the locations, the price point, the inventory, and why is it growing? In some areas it's growing because people are saying it's spring, it's a good time, things are selling. In some areas it's growing because nothing's selling and people have to put their house on the market. In some areas it's going down because as fast as they put it on, it's being sapped up by people. In some areas people are just taking it off the market because they're so disgusted it's been sitting there so long that they don't know what to do with it. So we cannot just talk about, oh gee, and then you have appraisal and you have lending and you have all the other things now that are impacting this market. So I think the market is much better than it was, because here's what I think I see. I think you have really, if we were going to say, okay, what are the markets doing? Well, I think you have the foreclosure short sale market, the middle tier and the high end, and then under that you have very hot markets that are multi-offer. You have markets that are all cash multi-offer. You have markets that are still correcting and sort of languishing and still basically not at bottom yet. You have some that have reached bottom, some that are close to bottom, and some that still have a ways to go. So here's what I see in foreclosures and short sales. There are very hot foreclosure and short sale markets, especially in the San Francisco Bay Area. There's not one you can touch. Some are hotter than others, but most of them are doing pretty well. It is no longer an on-sale market. They are markets where prices are appreciating. You're still seeing a lot of multi-offer, all cash offers. I don't think that's going to change. I don't think the banks are going to flood them with inventory. Yes, they're holding them. Yes, they have more coming. And here's what I think you're going to see, a big increase in the short sale market. Because we've done the subprime, that was foreclosure, we're probably 75-80% there. We're going to start with the ARMs, it's coming, okay? Those are going to be short sales. So I think go find out about short sales, learn about them. The banks, as we said, have all these programs now. I think short sales is going to replace your sort of foreclosure. You'll be doing both, but there's going to be a real push towards that short sale market, all right? That's a different mentality. Buyers are going to look at that a little bit different. Investors will look at that a little bit differently. So that's going to be your foreclosure, an added packet on top called short sales. I think you have pockets of the market like Cupertino, like Mountain View, like parts of Palo Alto. Those are very hot markets, all right? There's still value there, and value probably is close to bottom. Interest rates are going up. You have a lot of cash buyers in those markets, tons of money sitting on the sideline. Anybody who thinks there's no money in this valley is absolutely crazy. There's so much money sitting in this valley that I can't believe it, all right? And they're all coming out now, and that's where they're going, because that's the good first buyer, capable entry level. They're not going into the foreclosure short sale. The first-time buyer that's going there is the buyer that now sees affordability. They never could have afforded getting into the market. They're saying, well, maybe I can get in here. They're struggling. They've got that low down payment. They're pushing to get in against the all cash, who's an investor that's looking for cash flow and quick appreciation. They're going to compete. Here, you have a totally different kind of buyer. This is going to be somebody who already has a property or is a first-time buyer, but they have cash, they have money to put down, they have a good FICO score, they see value in those areas, and you know what? They're willing to compete. Here's going to be your biggest challenge there. How do you get the appraisals to match the price the buyers are willing to pay? That's going to be your biggest problem. I saw one in Cupertino the other day listed for like $589. It had like 14 or 15 offers, came in way over that. When they got the appraisal, it was $575. So they go to the bank, right? They show them, here's 14 offers, of which 8 are all cash. The bank says, we don't care. If these 14 people are wacko, we don't care. We're going to where the comps show. So they're living in the past in most of those comps. Believe me, they're not looking hot and heavy at the future. They're looking at the past, and so they're going to be 3 to 6 months behind a market that already has turned, because those markets went from December into now, and they're totally different markets, but the banks aren't agreeing with it. So you're going to have to explain to those people, look, you need to be a very strong buyer in that market. We're not going to compete in Cupertino with a 3.5% down. I mean, I wish we could, but that's just not going to work. We need to get a little bit more realistic. Second thing is you're going to be competing against multiple offers in those markets, and so you have to be ready, able to qualify or put a lot of cash on the table, and you're going to probably have to accept the fact, and in some cases, these properties haven't caught up yet with where the value system has gone. So I think that's going to be a market that you have to work with, and you need to just educate people. You want it, you're going to have to take it, that's the price that you pay. That's that market. Now, high end. Unbelievable how the high end is working. Because it depends, all right? I think that 2 to 5 million still basically a little bit stressed on the selling side, all right? Sellers, you know, they're never realistic in that pocket of the market. They all live on Kool-Aid. We know that. It's my house, so therefore if it's my house, it's better than anybody else's house. Therefore, and oh, by the way, I paid $4 million for it, 2006, so I need $4 million. And of course, my best graphic of that is, I was once a 10. When I was in college, I think I was a 10. I was a hell of a good date, and I had a really good time. I mean, I didn't grow up till I was like 35. I didn't even know that you had to do anything serious in life. I just thought you had a good time. So when I look in the mirror now, believe me, I don't see a 10. Believe me, it takes a long time to get the makeup on and get through with all the creases that you have to fill out. And I'm trying to hold up everything that falls on the ground when I get impressed with them. So I know I'm not a 10, okay? So look, I want to be a 10. I liked being a 10. The law of gravity, life, it takes it all away from you. What can you do? So when they tell you, you're getting better, that was a piece of garbage that Helen Gurley Brown sold to everybody and women in Cosmopolitan. You may be smarter, but you're definitely not getting better. I mean, I wake up, if I can slap myself, I know I'm alive. Thank God it's a good day. Then you have to spend the 10 minutes trying to get up off the ground so that you can get everything moving. It takes 10 minutes to get moving, like a computer. You've got to wake yourself up. So, okay, great that you paid $4 million for it. Perfect. That was a 2006 market. We're now in 2010. You have stressed sellers, you have foreclosures and short sales, you have a market that's gone down. Let me give you some statistics. In California, now not necessarily Saratoga, Los Gatos, but in California last year, 18,000 homes were sold over $1 million. In 2006, that number was 56,000. On average, the high end in all of California is down 25%. Now, that's not true of every area, and you want to look at your area, so you need to go in specifically. When I did Pacific Heights, it was only 9%, but that's unusual for a Pacific Heights area. The other thing is, however, on the offshoot to that, there are very capable buyers out there. Because listen to this. In the $1 million range, 35% of them paid all cash last year. When you got to over $5 million, that number was 40% paid all cash, which means they have it. If they got a loan, they put on average 40% down, and their average interest rate was 7%, very doable for them. So you have very capable buyers in the high end, but they're not going to play with an unrealistic seller. They want a deal. They're not fighting it's valuable. They're not fighting it's the high end. They understand all that. But what they're saying is, this is my market now. I want terms and conditions, and I want somebody priced realistically or priced aggressively, because otherwise I'm not coming into your ballpark to play. So that's the high end. That's the opportunity. That's the challenge. That's what you have to do. So if you're a high-end seller, either wait out the market. Let's talk about that. How long are you going to wait out the market? Well, let's say you're down 9-10%. Let's say you're in a good high-end market. Okay, we're not at the bottom of the high end yet. It's still going to correct a bit, especially because they're not getting realistic enough about their pricing. They're driving their own prices down by pricing them up here and then having to discount. That's how, stupid they are, okay? Now, second thing is the foreclosure short sale market. Look, the banks come in. They got a $2 million loan against a $5 million house. They don't care. They just want their $2 million. That's it. They get that. They're happy. They can get more. Good for them.